Let's get more on this story. Ahmed Rushdi joins us now from Baghdad. He is a senior foreign policy advisor to Iraqi parliament. Ahmed, good to have you with us, as always. Now, will Adel Abdul Mahdi's resignation change anything, or is it a small victory for protesters? Let's not forget, these people want dramatic changes.
Well, let's talk about the legitimacy of the resignation, because yesterday Adel Abdul Mahdi delivered his resignation to the parliament, not to the president. It's supposed to be to the president. Then it will be the right constitutional political move. Then after that, the president will accept it, then will ask the parliament, the bigger bloc in the parliament, to announce or to nominate another prime minister that it will be accepted by the president. This is the constitutional process. Now, what Adel did is actually he's gaining more time, first, and secondly, he's actually run away, escaped from a questionnaire by the parliament, which supposed to be on Sunday, which means tomorrow. And it's supposed to be this questionnaire will end up with withdrawal of confidence of Adel Abdul Mahdi, of the prime minister, then forced resignation. So I think it's a political movement. It's a political game. Adel will gain time on that. Also, the political blocs, which is also blamed with what's happening in Iraq, gain more time to choose another prime minister, saying that we are choosing another prime minister, in a way or another, to cover up two main things, two important demands from the Marja'iyya and also from the protesters, which is the electoral law and the committee, the electoral committee, which means that if it will be ended, that means we're going to end up with early elections. So no one actually from the political blocs asking for early election, and all those political games, it's only for gaining time. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So are the protests likely to continue? Will this violence end?
Well, I think the protesters, they are very intelligent, and they know exactly what's happening. And that's why they are looking to remove not only Adel Abdul Mahdi, not only the prime minister, the whole government. And that means caretaking government will be handling the situation in Iraq until the early elections will happen, which needs those two laws that I said before. On that way, that means the protester will stay, the violence will stay until that there will be some sort of a push for the political blocs and also for Adel to play the game on the right way. And let us not forget is that we are not now talking about 16 years of the political process after what's happened after the invasion of Iraq in 2003. So I think it's another era of the political process now handled by the Marja'iyya themselves, which means that refresh the political process with the new faces, not those old faces. And this is the dilemma that we are now facing, is that no one is actually asking to those old faces to stay on power in Iraq.
Mm-hmm. And Ahmed, why have so many people lost their lives in these protests? Are the security forces out of control?
Well, it's something complicated, because we are talking about protesters. It does not mean that there is no political blocs inside the protesters, which I think Sairun which is Muqtada Sadr bloc, is actually controlling some sort of those protesting areas. And the protesting governorates is actually the majority, they are Sairun. We are talking about Najaf, about Hilla, about Nasriya, about Basra, about Simawa, about Misan. All those governorates is actually has the majority, the people, how you call it, the people loyalty is actually for Muqtada Sadr. So you are seeing a manifesto, or let's say a location of protesters. The location of the protesters is actually on the central of those cities, and they are controlling, geographically, they are controlling those cities. So it shows you that Sairun is already presented inside the protesters, the communist is already there, the Labras is already there, and maybe even the Ba'ath is already there with the protesters. Now, on the other side, you have the government forces, the security forces, which is also part of them. They belongs to the militia, and they are actually in between brackets. We are seeing maybe a civil war in the south, but no one is talking about that. So I think with the resignation yesterday, it's the beginning of a way of solving the problems by getting rid of the prime minister, the political blocs, rising up a new era of the political process. And maybe on that time, when we're going to reach that those two laws will be accepted by the parliament, will be voted in the parliament, and end up with a date of early elections, I think the protesters and the demonstrations will be ended.
Okay, let's just hope so. Thanks so much for that, Ahmed Rushdi, a senior foreign policy advisor to Iraqi parliament, live for us from Baghdad.